Chief, could you help us out with the invocation again this evening?
Be happy to. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, if you'll pray with me. Almighty God, we just thank you for your presence. We thank you for the ability to serve you. Lord, we pray that you would just guide us tonight in our decisions. Give us wisdom to do the right thing for the community. Lord, protect those who serve. And Lord, bless all those who are in attendance and who are listening tonight. And we just pray this in your mighty name. Amen.
Amen. Join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Madam Clerk, could you take the roll?
Mr. Tharp?
Here.
Ms. Feeback?
Here.
Mr. Grant? Mr. Delgado?
Here.
Mr. Savage?
Here.
Council President, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Moving on, we're going to look at the approval of tonight's agenda. I see that we're pulling off item 6 and item 12. Is that correct? So scratch those off for the evening. All right, if everybody is okay with that, are there any other questions or concerns regarding tonight's agenda? Nothing there, then I entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. If there are no further questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 4-0-0. Awesome. All right, so starting off tonight's festivities, we've got a presentation from Joco Aging and Human Services. Who's taking care of that tonight? Awesome.
Good evening. Okay, so I will need to dock into here. Alrighty. Well, good evening. My name is Colin Jones, and I'm the still newly hired Human Services Manager for Johnson County Aging and Human Services. And so before we start tonight, just wanted to express my gratitude to the mayor and to the council members this evening for giving us the opportunity to speak a little bit on our utility assistance program. You know, it's really our community partnerships that keep this program going, and they're so of such vital importance to us. And so we just want to thank you again for your time tonight, and also for your generosity in providing financial assistance to your neighbors in need. So I'm going to get right into this and talk a little bit about our utility assistance program. So our program was first established in 1979, which makes it the agency's longest running service program. And really it serves as a really critical safety net for individuals, for families experiencing financial hardship due to income changes, family disruptions, or unexpected crises that happen in life. The program also provides really a lot of essential support to individuals and to households living on a fixed income. So folks, you know, on a retirement pension or disability or Social Security. And really the primary goal of our program is to prevent utility disconnections. So we know that this helps folks maintain a stable living environment and reduces the risk of eviction. So our program provides financial assistance for past due utility bills, or assists individuals on a payment plan who are unable to make the minimum payment to avoid the utility disconnection. One thing about our program that I should note as well is that you do not need to have received like an official shutoff or a disconnection notice to receive our services. But we partner with 15 cities currently, as well as 5 local utility companies to assist residents in need. Electricity, water, gas, and propane and wastewater utility bills are all eligible for our assistance. And to give you kind of a snapshot of our last year, we served 1,745 households for a total of a little over $833,000 in utility assistance in 2025. So I'll talk a little bit about the qualifications for utility assistance. So residents first must be a Johnson County resident and a resident of Spring Hill to utilize both the City of Spring Hill funding and the Johnson County funds. Though we know that Spring Hill extends into Miami County, so wanted to advise that Miami County residents who live in Spring Hill would be eligible for City of Spring Hill funding only. In addition to that, residents must have a past due utility bill or need assistance, as I said, with an established payment plan. Residents must be at or below 200% of the federal poverty income guidelines and provide proof of ID, income, and residency to receive our services. I'll also tell you a little bit about some of the reasons why residents do seek our support. We've done some recent polling, and there are some reasons that kind of come to light year after year. Oftentimes it's low or stagnant wages, unemployment, difficulties finding work, perhaps an inability to work due to older age or due to disability, increasing costs of utility bills due to inflation or increasing healthcare costs for many of our families, or maybe it's just an unexpected expense. Maybe it's something like a car repair or a replacement or a veterinary bill that really makes it difficult for our families to meet their financial needs for that month. I should note often, really year after year, 50% of the folks that do enter into our services to receive utility assistance do not return in the same calendar year. So I'll kind of explain a little bit about the federal poverty guidelines that we abide by. So the federal poverty level, that's a measure of income, right, that was or is updated by the Department of Health and Human Services. And it's used to determine eligibility for many federal and nonprofit programs, services. You can see in that chart on the left there the number of people in the household, as well as the monthly and annual income levels that they need to be at to receive our assistance, as well as a kind of a breakdown of different federal programs and what like poverty level they serve. So for example, SNAP, the state benefit program, they serve folks at about 130% of the federal poverty level. For LEAP, it's 150. Women, infants, and children, it is 185. And for 2 of our nonprofit community providers, Catholic Charities and Salvation Army, it's 150. So really by serving 200% of the federal poverty level, really what we aim to do is be an added safety net for individuals, for households that are in need but don't quite qualify for those federal programs. This really illustrates the value of our partnership and kind of serves to describe your guys' return on investment for partnering with our county. Currently, the city contributes $200 per resident per calendar year for utility assistance. Now, those funds are matched by the county per resident per calendar year for up to $300. In addition to those funds, kind of dependent upon the time of year that a resident were to reach out to us or the funding availability that we have, we also receive utility assistance funds from our utility company providers. And for Spring Hill residents, that would mean from Atmos and Water One. So really what you see is a single $200 city investment per resident can generate up to $500+ in utility assistance for one household using all the available funding. And really what this serves to show is by partnering with the county, Spring Hill residents benefit. Alrighty, next I want to talk about some stats we've got. So in 2025, we served 25 households in Spring Hill, and we provided a total of $11,170 in utility assistance, with the average amount of assistance received per household clocking in at around $141. This pie chart looks really at the contribution of funds per agency. And so you can see, and I have the figures here. So Johnson County government last year contributed $4,115 worth of funding to Spring Hill residents. The city contributed $3,548. Utility providers, so that's Atmos and that is Water One, contributed $2,604. And lastly, $902 were accounted for by our donations that our agency receives. So this is funding that went to Spring Hill residents. This looks at really all the available funds, so that number I mentioned earlier, a little over 11,000, and where those dollars were utilized. And as you can see, kind of the large majority of that is for electricity bills, and that really seems to be pretty consistent across all of our locations. That tends to be the bill that folks are needing assistance with. Coming in second place is water, then gas, and then a little sliver of wastewater there. This pie chart really depicts kind of a similar breakdown, just only using the funds that were contributed by the city. And so you'll sort of see a similar breakdown there in terms of where the need was for utility assistance. And then this last slide is a 3-year retrospective. It kind of looks at the households we served in Spring Hill, dating back to 2023, and the total amount of utility assistance that was provided by the city. Now you can kind of see that there is a pretty stable trend in Spring Hill, though I will note that generally speaking, kind of across our locations, we are seeing a demonstrated increased need for utility assistance. And we tend to attribute that to inflation cost and just increasing costs of utilities. Now, I do want to highlight some additional services that are available for Spring Hill residents. So in addition to receiving utility assistance, qualified Spring Hill residents can also take home a bag of food. So we have a food pantry. It is located in our Gardner office. We also have food pantries in 2 other locations that we serve. But really, if Spring Hill residents were to indicate a need for food assistance, we'd take them through a pretty brief screening process to determine eligibility. And then once they're certified, they can be certified for up to a year, and they can visit our pantry once a month or every 30 days. The stuff we provide is typically food and hygiene products, And really what it is meant to do is it's meant to be a supplemental aid to free up more household funding for things in the budget. Now, in addition to the food and to the utility assistance, our human service specialists do a really excellent job of identifying needs that residents might be experiencing and helping them bridge the gaps to those needs by connecting them to resources that they might be in need of, interested in, or eligible for. And this could be things like federal programs, SNAP or LEAP, or it could be a referral to a healthcare provider or a nonprofit resource. We participate in a closed loop referral system for community organizations to create a warm handoff. And we partner with a lot of agencies through IRIS, be it a Health Partnership Clinic, Jewish Family Services, El Centro, and many more. Now, in addition to that, and I failed to mention this up front, I've been in this role for about 4 months. I'm a licensed clinical social worker by trade. So one of the reasons why I was brought onto this team is really to build out case management services that we're hoping to provide folks. So we're working on building a model for short-term light touch case management that would really seek to help us move beyond time-limited or one-time assistance, really to be able to help folks partner on goals that are meaningful to them related to education, employment, benefit access, and the like, really to help them move to a place of greater self-sufficiency and economic mobility. So we do try to get the word out about our program, and I should note that there is program information posted on both the county and the city websites. We try to have printed flyers available at this Civic Center and at the Life Springs Church of Food Pantry. We would love to partner with you guys to do more outreach and advertising through the city newsletter. We do some advertising through the chamber newsletter. And of course, we do advertisements in Best Times Magazine, Joco Magazine, and through our social media channels. So you might be wondering, okay, this all sounds great. How can a Spring Hill resident access these services? So it really starts with our Human Services phone line. That is really the single point of entry for our utility assistance program. And how it would work is a resident in need would contact us. Our phone agent would take them through a brief eligibility verification process. And from there, they'd be scheduled for the next available appointment at the location that's closest to their home or their work, if that were to be a better option for them. They would be served out of our Gardner office, which is located off of Main Street in Gardner, Kansas. We serve Gardner, Edgerton, and Spring Hill residents out of that location. I do want to say as well, we really try to meet the demand for utility assistance in the community. We pride ourselves on being able to offer appointments the same week, and we're often successful at that. So we do prioritize getting folks connected to resources and to the services as quickly as we can, due to the nature of this, right? The looming disconnect notices and things that our community members are facing. So that is really short and sweet. That is it. Our contact information is there listed for myself and Brandy Hodge, who's here with me tonight. She's our division manager. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions you've got, but I appreciate the time today. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much for your presentation. We got questions?
I do. Well, first of all, you did a good presentation.
Hey, thanks,
Imagine
Kristen.
being new, it's kind of nerve-wracking. First of all, I'm very much in support of this service. And you answered pretty much all the questions I had through your presentation. One question I did have is, you talked about how you have case management and you're able to get other resources if jobs, employment, different things, housing. So do you have people that can, if it appears to be maybe not just an immediate crisis, but more long-term, do you have people on your team that are eligible to help people apply for Medicaid if needed? I was just curious.
Yeah, that's a good question. So benefit access is definitely something that we focus on.
Okay.
We have not so much focused on Medicaid, Medicare, those types of things as we have LEAP, SNAP, WIC, things like that in the past.
Okay.
That's certainly not out of the question. It's something that we could help with. I think our human service specialists do a really good job of identifying needs, and we really rely a lot on our county partners as well. So if there is like a medical need, we can sort of identify some other resources. If there's a mental health related need, Johnson County Mental Health would be our first go-to there. They have a program called the SOAR program that
Right.
helps people apply for benefits. So we would kind of lean on county partners in that way. But I think it's not something that would be out of the question for us to provide as well. I would say, really what we are doing right now is some follow-ups with folks, connecting them to the immediate resources that they need.
Mm-hmm.
But part of us doing the work that we're doing right now and working with a software company to build out our program is really to provide more intensive case management services, and then be able to track those outcomes and really speak to what we're doing in the community. I think there's a lot of good that we're doing that we're not necessarily tracking. So we're trying to change that right now.
I think the only last comment I'd like to make is maybe doing your presentation among the city employees, people that interact with the public. I think there's always kind of, there can be a disconnect there. So people that are directly working with citizens, like up here at the window when they come up and they tell you, hey, listen, I've got an issue here. I can't get my bill this month.
Yes.
And then just making sure that the employees know the service so they can refer to it.
Absolutely.
I'm a big proponent of, you know, that. I'm in mental health as well, so I understand, you know, the different things. But yeah, I think educating our staff here would be important about your program too, just so they can come up with a solution if they have somebody coming forward saying that, a citizen saying they can't afford their bill.
100%. And thank you for that feedback.
Sure.
Really appreciate it. Yeah, we'd welcome any opportunity to speak with anyone who's going to help get the word out about our services. I do want to say I've got some rack cards for you all. So I will leave this stuff here with you. It does have our line at the bottom there.
Awesome. My kind of perfect segue is, what are you looking for as far as assistance goes from your municipal partners? Is there something that we're hoping to ask us today, or is there any are there any immediate needs that you might want us to start kind of looking into for you?
Colin, I'd be happy to answer that for you. Yeah. Unless you can add on to it. In your consent agenda tonight is the agreement to extend these services to, with the county. We've had a long-term partnership together. The city contributes to $2,750 a year to this program through that agreement. In addition to that, the last few years, the Mayor's Christmas Tree Fund has given a third of the donations raised to the Utility Assistance Fund. And we do a roundup program. So on your City of Spring Hill water bill, utility bill, you can round up, and that money goes into the utility assistance as well. Great. And so that's what we contribute. In the budgeting process, we can re-examine things like that and say, is there something else, a better way for us to help? And we can certainly do that. And I also wanted to address that we receive payments toward utility bills from this program. In 2025, 11 of the 12 months, we got a payment from them for a citizen. We often refer people to the Human Services Group, and it can be to help pay their bill, but it could be someone who has a repair and they can't afford to fix the plumbing issue or something. We know where to turn, and so it's definitely services that get used. And we have a great working thing where we don't cut somebody off because we're talking to them, and we really work together to keep the dignity of the citizen that's needing that assistance. And so it's a good partnership and well worth the investment that the city makes.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Rhonda.
As far as community outreach, getting that information out, letting people know where they can make donations, do we have something in place either through our social media work or newsletters, anything like that, where we're currently trying to put information out? Rhonda?
Oh, I'm sorry. The short answer is yes. We, especially at the holiday time, where we're generating donations. Jenna's here with us tonight as well, and so I'm sure she'd be happy to have any content like that for the city newsletter. We also have the employee newsletter as well that we could put that to work. Happy to do it.
Good.
Sounds good to me. Any other questions? Anything else that you'd like to add before we move on with tonight?
No, I don't think so. I appreciate your guys' time this evening.
Thank you so much for coming and presenting to us. Appreciate it. All right, moving on to the next item on our agenda. It's looking like we're going to go to announcements. Lane, would you like to start with announcements tonight?
We are still working with KDOT on 191st Street and 169 Highway. I anticipate hopefully going out to bid that project in July. And then that's probably about a 30 to 45 day process. And then hopefully by late summer, we'll be able to start that project. We're also working with KDOT on 183rd Street to get the final plans approved on that project also. So hopefully by I'm going to say the end of 27, we should have both those projects underway and completed.
Wonderful. Spencer, anything for us, sir?
No report, thank you.
Chief?
I think I'm on.
It's like a second delay.
Hello. Okay, good. Yeah, I just wanted to update the council on a couple things from the police department. This week, I attended a conference for Kansas law enforcement accreditation program. So I know this is something the previous chief began and Captain Khan has been working on. And so I was able this week to get up to speed on what accreditation will take for the police department to make sure that our policies are in best practice and up to date and up to current practices. So we'll be continuing that process. I believe that's going to be about a 2-year process to complete. So I'll look forward to updating you more on some of that. And then this week, I got the opportunity to speak at a leadership cohort. It's a Johnson County and Wyandotte County partnership, just on basic leadership principles. We have 2 officers that are participating in the program, and it's all about just trying to develop and grow those who we believe have leadership potential in the organization. So it's been good. We're about 4 weeks into a 6-week program, and very proud of our officers that are participating. So just wanted to update you on that.
Awesome. Mike?
Nothing to report.
Thank you, sir. Rhonda?
Nothing to report.
Jacob?
So our crews were busy over the last week with some high water with all the rain that we had, but I mean, no major problems. Most of them were, just ditches overflowing, with impacting roadways. A lot of private culverts that were obstructed, blocked. We were able to put the sewer combination truck to good use, and the crews were out and helping to, especially for those block culverts, get those at least cleared enough to drain and get the water off the roadway. Speaking of the combination, the sewer cleaning truck, it's been working this week in the Brookwood Farms subdivision. We've been started first on the sanitary sewer lines, but we've also been working on the storm sewer lines in that neighborhood as well. So again, I'm going to thank the council for their support. The guys love the truck, love what they're able to do, and putting it to good use. And finally, just an update: the school crossing signs for Dayton Creek. Finally got word today that those signs were completed and ready, so we'll be over tomorrow morning to pick those up and install them tomorrow.
Beautiful. Monakisha?
So just a notice to the public out there in reference to the teens for this summer. We are going to start interviews for the staff positions like lifeguards, head lifeguards, front deck attendants next week. So for anyone that has not applied, go ahead and do that so you can get yourself in the running for that. And then just generally speaking for the city, obviously always go to our website for any openings that we have.
I actually had 2 young people in the shop today asking me if they knew when they were going to get phone calls about interviews. So your timing was absolutely perfect.
Yes.
Appreciate that. Madam Clerk, do we have anything? Amy, you have anything for us? All right, Councilwoman feedback?
I don't really have any announcements, more of just an apology. I wasn't here last meeting because I was stuck in Nashville Airport due to some delays. And then I had a massive board meeting the time before that. So I just want to apologize. I got caught up on what I missed, and so that's all.
Councilman Delgado?
No report.
Councilman Savage?
No report.
All right, if no one else has got anything pressing, we can move on to citizen participation. This is an opportunity for anybody to come up and speak about any concerns or questions that they have. I did not pick up the sign-in sheet, so if anybody, oh, perfect. Here we do, we actually do have someone. We've got John Waterman. If you could come up and give us your address, your full name and address.
Good evening. Good evening. John Waterman, 21110 West 186 Terrace in Dayton Creek. So first off, I'd just like to say I think I won the lottery tonight. I heard two good things about Dayton Creek, so thank you, Lane, for the update on the traffic signals at 191st and 183rd. That'll be very welcome for us and our neighbors. And thank you also for the notice of the school crossing sign. So that's great, fantastic. So what I wanted to speak about tonight was specific to the comprehensive plan that's currently in process. So this is very important to me. Back in October, I talked to Mayor-elect Young about the comprehensive plan and kind of the importance of it, you know, to me, and the need to get it off a kind of top dead center and moving again because it has been stalled for so long. And I think the Planning Commission and the City Council and the mayor for, you know, taking that to heart and really, you know, pushing and driving forward with that plan now. It sounds like we have some good momentum behind us, and I'm excited to get involved and help where I can. I think we look at you know, kind of the comprehensive plan as our guide or our beacon for future development and growth in the city. And it was something I was very prideful of moving here in 2021, but then shortly realized that, you know, oh boy, we're out of date. We need to kind of prepare for the future and growth is upon us and happening fast, and we need to get ahead of it. We need to have a plan so that when, you know, people come with opportunities and applications for development, they fit correctly where they have cookie cutter places for them, you know, in the city future land use map, and it just all makes sense. Right now, we struggle a little bit with having to bring all these rezoning applications forward, which sometimes causes some angst or some uncertainty with residents, with citizens, because it just doesn't quite make sense. Why would we do that? That has nothing to do with the 2010 future land use map. So I urge us all to really want that, you know, want that future vision, the land use map, the comprehensive plan, to define what we want Spring Hill to look like in 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, on down the line. And all work together to make development, you know, and make the city grow and function, you know, as it should, as we all want it to. So I want to move forward and get involved. I understand there's a Planning Commission work session on April 2nd, I believe. I'm not sure if that's been posted yet, but I plan to be there in support of that. I also understand there may be another meeting later in the month of April for that. I was at the Planning Commission meeting last week. That's why I have that information. So again, excited to see that. Would really also don't want to rush to define a comprehensive plan that doesn't make sense. Want it to all make sense. So I urge the council, I urge Planning Commission, I urge the mayor, I also urge us citizens to move with disciplined quickness in doing it. I mean, it's long overdue. We need to get it done, but we have to have discipline in doing it as well. We don't want to create a future land use map that doesn't make sense. So with that, I will go ahead and wrap it up and let the meeting continue. But again, just want to express my appreciation for getting this moving again, and really look forward to supporting the city and future growth. So thank you very much.
John, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, is there anybody else that'd like to speak tonight? Please come up, sir. Just state your name and your address for us.
Good evening. My name is Lance Caldwell. I'm at 15275 West 191st Street, Spring Hill. I hold the elected position of Spring Hill Township Treasurer and have been to a few meetings here in the last month and probably should have been here before. So apologize for not being involved, but I think we're going to see some more involvement from the community with things that have taken place. I appreciate Mr. Waterman's comments. I heard him speak last Thursday night, and I too hope that the Planning Commission meetings coming up in April will be well attended, and folks both that vote and don't vote will be able to contribute to that conversation. I'm particularly hopeful that the commission itself, based on at least the website, has listed county representatives. And I think we do have one in Johnson County. I'm not sure if Miami County was filled at the last meeting or not, but I think going forward, I really hope that we continue to have county representatives on the Planning Commission. I think that's important given the role that everybody serves, whether they vote or not. We're all here in the same area and want the best for our community. So just wanted to recommend that as well. The last thing I had was just a question on the parcels that were up for rezoning. I was looking at the filing, and it looks like there is an opportunity for the owner to request de-annexation within 90 days. And I don't know if that 90 days is begun as of Friday or other days, but I don't know if is that public knowledge as far as when that 90 days will begin?
I'll point over here to Spencer Lau here and direct him.
We typically don't do a question and answer part of this citizen participation, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I'm just going to make the assumption it's about that time, but will we be notified as the public if the landowner does submit a de-annexation request?
Spencer?
Same thing, yeah, this is
Okay.
more of a, I'm not trying to be difficult.
No, I get it. I just, like I said, a couple questions I had. I didn't know if this was the right forum, but appreciate your time and look forward to being involved here in the months ahead.
Thank you, sir. All right, anybody else? All right, then we will conclude today's citizens' participation and move on to the consent agenda. At this point, I'll entertain a motion, unless there's any questions, concerns about anything on consent agenda, I will entertain a motions to approve that.
So moved. Second?
Got a motion and a second. There's no further comments. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion carries, is it 4-0-0? Moving on to the formal council action. We're gonna go with item number 9, consider approval of property, casualty, and liability insurance policy renewal. Ms. Jones, you have the floor.
I wore my really tall heels today. So good evening, everybody. So I'm here to go over the renewal that we have for the April 1st beginning for the plan year. And as always, working with Elliott Group, who provide us the expertise and experience in brokerage and administration. I am constantly contacting them throughout the year on various things, but during this renewal period, we have a lot of back and forth conversations and working together to make sure that we have all the information we need to get the city the best premiums for the upcoming year as possible. As always with insurance, you hear me say a lot of times that the fluctuations in the industry could be due to what's going on with the changes in premium, I should say. It's due to the fluctuations in the industry, exposure increases, property value increases, equipment value increases. So there's a lot of things that go into that. The renewal for this particular year for the city, the total insured value increased by about 4% as a result of some equipment purchases in vehicles. But with that said, is that when you look at it line by line, the largest premium increase we see is on our property. But again, that's due to ratings, evaluations, and different things. But it does seem that the market is somewhat starting to level off versus what it's been doing in the last 5 years over those changes with deductible requirements and different things like that. So hopefully we can see some stabilization coming up. But even with that said, our current provider's renewal premium is favorable with the city with an overall increase of about 7.5%. And then in terms of specifically for our cyber, We did receive 4 quotes, which includes our current provider, Alpha, but with all of those quotes, Alpha still turned out to be the best for service-wise as well as premium-wise for that. So you see there the summary of the premiums below from last year to this upcoming year, April 1st. And so at this point, I would like to recommend that the governing body approve EMC and Alpha providing us our insurance services beginning April 1st. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Anybody would like to go?
I don't have a question. Did you, and maybe you said this before, we have a broker that seeks out to compare all the insurance? Okay. I'm
Right.
sorry if I missed that.
Oh, no, it's no problem.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I personally was anticipating some kind of an increase this year. We've added to the city's
Absolutely.
assets. We've done some acquisitions. There's some things that have really changed as we're growing. So seeing that it's not more is honestly kind of leaves me with a good feeling. And I always appreciate when you put the side-by-side information there. It makes it really, really clear so we can see where the information has changed one year to the next. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. And I will say some good news happened that has nothing to do with whether or not you approve this. It's just that I got the information tonight. EMC is really great depending on how their program performs. They try to give back to the clients that they have. And so on average, looking at the last couple of years, we've been able to get about $17,000 from them back towards the premiums that we paid, essentially is what it is. But it's not guaranteed. So one, I never put it in there, and then sometimes I don't even have the information by the time I come up here. But tonight, I surprisingly was given a check for the dividend from last year, and the net of it is favorable to the city, a little over $3,000. So
That's wonderful.
it's good.
Wonderful. Any other questions, concerns?
Looks good. Appreciate all the hard work.
You're welcome.
All right, so if there are no further comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve this here. That's what we're looking at, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Move to approve EMC and Alpha to provide the city's property, casualty, and liability insurance for the April 1st, 2026 to March 31st, 2027 plan year.
Second.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. If there's no further comment, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion pass 4-0-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monikisha. All right, moving on to agenda item number 10, consider resolution number 2026-R-6, acknowledge and review the acceptance of the requested 5-year Johnson County Assistance Road System CARS program for 2027 through 2031. Mr. Spears, you have the floor.
Thank you, Council President. I think most of you are familiar with the Johnson County CARS program. CARS is an acronym, stands for the County Assistance Road System Program. It's a way that the county is able to share its funds, recognizing that the county's road network is shrinking as the municipalities in the county's road networks are growing. So they developed this program to help offset the costs for road programs. There is some eligibility criteria. Won't get into all of the too far into the weeds, but generally speaking, it's the more major thoroughfares within the county that are eligible. So not every road in Spring Hill is eligible. First, we've got to be on the Johnson County side, and then also it's got to be those more major thoroughfares. With that in mind, we try to put together a program to have at least a CARS eligible program lined up every year to take advantage of that. The CARS program is can be up to a 50% funding match by Johnson County. There are a few costs. Hard construction costs are absolutely eligible. Engineering design costs are not eligible, so it's not quite 50% of the total cost of the project, but definitely covers 50% of the construction cost. We put together a 5-year program, and we present that 5-year program every year to the county. It may look just like last year with just an additional project tacked on to year 5. But cities also have the freedom and the ability to shuffle the deck a little if needs have changed, traffic patterns have changed, road conditions have changed dramatically. We're not locked in to years 2 through 5. Next year we can rearrange those as necessary. Here before you tonight is our proposed program for 2027 through 2031. And again, it's a planning tool. Really the only commitment from the city is that year 1 project, in this case the 2027 project. We will be, along with this resolution, we would be making kind of formal application to Johnson County for that project as our 2027 CARS project. And if it is funded, then there is the expectation that the city move ahead with that 1 year's project and fund our portion of it. Again, years 2 through 5 are more of a planning exercise. So with all that said, I'll just kind of quickly run through these, and if you all have questions, feel free to stop me as we go. Here's a quick overview map. I don't know that shows a whole lot other than it's kind of spread out across the community. Project by project, the 2027 project is 199th Street from generally from Webster to Woodland. And it may not show up real well in this picture. That roadway isn't in too bad a shape, which is exactly when we should be doing these major road maintenance projects. So this photo, it was a Google image, and it's 2 years, about a year and a half old now. There's a little more cracking going on. This would be the time to go in, mill, overlay, any base repairs that are necessary we would catch at that time, and then redo all the striping as well, and get that road sealed off before the base underneath starts to deteriorate, which would lead to much more costly repairs in the future. That's a almost $600,000 project is the engineer's estimate, and almost $285,000 of that is CARS eligible. The 2028 project is a big change in scope. This is the 207th project along 207th Street, Woodland to Ridgeview. This would be a complete street project and a complete street reconstruction. Think something along the lines of what is underway right now on 199th from Ridgeview to Renner. So this would be not a completely new roadway, adding curb and gutter, storm drainage pipe inlets, sidewalks, sidewalk on one side, trail on the other. And so this is a full street redo for that section. All in, it's about a $15 million project, and the CARS funding request for that would be about a little over 3 3/4, just under 3.8 million. We've also talked about and applied for several other grants and other funding opportunities. So that's a large enough dollar amount. We'll be trying to pull from several different sources to help fund that project. 2029 project, we are looking at Ridgeview, 191st to 199th. So this would be the section near Wolf Creek and along the high school. This is a little larger. Again, new surface, so a mill and overlay. There's some ditch grading that needs to happen there. There's some places, especially on the east side of the road, where the ditch gets really close from the edge of the pavement. It drops off pretty quickly. Can be hazardous. Really, the only way to change that is to shift the entire ditch and flow line further away. So there's a fairly significant grading operation that needs to happen along with that. And then we've been talking at the staff level about the potential for what I'd call some geometry improvements, ways to help with turning movements, whether that's turning lanes or roundabouts or things like that to help with traffic, especially getting in and out of the high school. So that's around a $1.4 million project, just over 600,000 cars eligible. 2030, we're back on 199th. This would be Woodland to Ridgeview. And I say Woodland, and really the breaking point would be the bridge over the railroad tracks in Woodland. So this would be from that bridge on over to Ridgeview. Much like the earlier one, catch it before it gets too far gone. Fairly basic, straightforward mill and overlay and striping. $800,000. You can see these numbers just keep creeping up. These estimates are trying to account for time and inflation as well. And then finally, at year 5, this is again a little bit unique. So this would be 215th Street, which is also the county line, from 169 Highway west to the West City limits. This is in the area of the new Avondale Meadows subdivision. And again, this road is seeing more traffic with subdivision going in and just more traffic in the area in general. And a lot of structural deterioration along this roadway. This is one, being the county line road, we will probably start talking with our partners both on the Johnson County and the Miami County side, trying to look at a way to get some funding participation from all all involved parties. But that's a short stretch of road, so that helps keep the cost down. But it needs a lot in terms of base repair, pavement, grading, and then striping and so on. So that's the 5-year program that we have lined out. Happy to answer any questions that you may have. The actual, I guess, formal item before you tonight is a resolution. Johnson County asks that the governing body approve a resolution that says, hey, we've reviewed, and this is the 5-year plan that we want to submit to Johnson County for the CARS program. Happy to answer any questions you have.
I don't have any real questions. My only concern is it seems like that 215th project might become pressing like sooner in the timeline than it's currently said. Is that something that you guys are looking into as it develops along that line?
Yeah, we have looked into that, and I think you're right. I think we're going to put some money into it, probably every year. Just honestly, just kind of patching and band-aiding. I've talked with my staff, and we've gone kind of back and forth on this one. There's they've just started construction on that Avondale Meadows subdivision with the first phase.
Right.
There's a lot of construction still to come, and it's a double-edged sword. It would be nice to get in there and fix the road sooner rather than later, knowing that it's going to see a lot of large, heavy truck traffic. The other side of that coin is if that large, heavy truck traffic is going to destroy it, let's see if we can just hang on and let's do the reconstruction literally after the dust has settled, where that road will hold up, even longer, and that brand new road won't be subject to that intense usage. So we've gone back and forth and kind of landed on let's push it out to year 5, with the recognition that we're going to have to, just in-house with city forces, we're going to spend a fair amount of time, repairing, patching, trying to hold it together until then.
That makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Are there any other questions or concerns regarding this this project here?
No, sir.
If there are no further comments, I entertain a motion.
Which is it, 10?
Yeah.
Do you want to do it?
I move to approve resolution number 2026 R06, acknowledging review and acceptance of the requested 5-year Johnson County Assistance Road System CARS program 2027 to 2031.
Second.
Madam Clerk, this is just a normal vote. All right, I have a motion and a second at this time. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes 4-0-0. Moving on to item number 11. Consider approval the final plat of FP-25-9 Prairie Ridge at Spring Hill number 5.
Thank you, Council President, members of the City Council, good evening. This is a request for approval of a final plat for Prairie Ridge at Spring Hill number 5. The property is located at 195th Terrace and Barstow Street, consists of roughly 17 acres and includes 45 residential lots. The City Council voted on this last, on the similar plat, almost the same, back in November of 2025, meeting where it was approved unanimously via consent. Plat is back before you this evening because there were some revisions to that plat, very minor. Some new utility easements being dedicated and some new plat language for track day to specifically call that out as a stormwater detention facility. There are no other changes to that. Staff determined those changes were not significant enough to go back to the Planning Commission for a recommendation to bring before you, and that those are the only changes, and so we recommend approval of it. Because the utility easements being dedicated to the city have to come back to the governing body for approval.
Okay. I think this is the first time I've seen a plat come back without going through the Planning Commission. What's the threshold for that decision? Is it just at your discretion in your position, or how does that work exactly?
Typically, they would come back, but this was such a minor thing, just a note or two added to that detention easement or detention tract, and then the relocation of utility easement, that minor enough. In some cities, that would even be an administrative amendment to tweak a note, but because of the addition of those utility easements, it really didn't materially change anything from the preliminary plat. It didn't materially change any of the lot layouts, road network, or anything else related to the final plat that was before you in November, and that the Planning Commission did recommend approval. So staff thought that this was the quickest way to get it back into the developer's hands to get recorded so they could start building houses.
And just to check with Spencer again, this is a new process for me, so this all falls in line with our charter and is how it should work.
Yes.
Perfect. Any other questions there? I really appreciate you. It's a new process for me, so I wanted to make sure that I understood how it was working. So if there are no further comments on this, I entertain a motion.
I move to approve the final plat FP-25 or FP-25-9 Prairie Ridge at Spring Hill number 5.
Second.
I've got a motion and second. If there's no further comment, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes 4-0-0. All right, we did that taken off agenda item number 12. So moving on to 13, consider approval for 2025 year-end transfers. Everybody's favorite topic.
That's right. Good evening. So we keep the books open for the previous year for about 2 months through the end of February, so we get everything matched up for the year that the money was actually spent. And so we finished up that at the end of February. Now we can put together how the year ended. So I'm going to go over that quickly with you this evening and then talk about what to do with any budget surplus or cash surplus we had at the end of the year. This is the revenue side of the equation. We budgeted, our actual came in at about $11,900,000 in total revenue, and that we were $1,752,000 better than budget. We took in more money than we budgeted, which is about 17.3% of the total budget. The majority of that is in development fees. A couple of things there. We conservatively budget those fees every year because we're dependent on development, and one thing changes, we could have a whole pothole in the budget to overcome, and so we choose to budget conservatively. Additionally, we added new services last year in our engineering department for construction observation, and that generated a couple $100,000 more than we budgeted. And so together, our total income has exceeded what we budgeted for the year. You're always welcome to interrupt me, but I also have a place for questions at the end. And then I'd like you to be aware of about exactly 2/3 of our revenue comes from property tax and sales tax. And the property tax grew a little more this year than sales tax. They tend to flip-flop a little bit, but that's where the majority of the money comes from. And then those development fees are the third largest category. Sales tax, an important trend to watch. The stack is the way you want to see it, which is the oldest year is the smallest number. And as you can see in this short blue line for 26, we're already ahead of where we were in 25. And we're slightly ahead of budget. I'm not running to the casino or anything on that thought, because you got 12 months to get through. We tend to be stronger in the early months and then wane through the middle. Sales tax falls 2 months behind. 1 month they collect it, the next month they send it to the state, and the next month they send it to us. So in February, you're seeing Christmas. So Christmas sales were strong this year. Then let's look at the expense side. We budget to the bottom line, both in departments as well as the total budget. So it's not a perfect picture ever. So we have savings in some places because we run over in another area. This is primarily due to staff positions that are budgeted for the year, but they aren't filled on January 1st. And so we have some money there. We also have, I think, some good things. We did work in the aquatic center. I think we're doing more and more maintenance and more improvements there, and you see that reflected here in the budget. Other budgets run under for various different reasons. I have lots of details if you'd like to hear them, but to take a $9.9 million budget and come within $80,000 is pretty phenomenal. As the budget manager, it makes me very nervous, but I track it quite a bit and work with everyone on, let's wait for next year, let's not do that, or yeah, you've got the budget. And so we're good budget managers. Then I wanted you to see what we budgeted in 2026 for expense, and because I think that's an important thing. Well, we ran over here, what are we doing for the next year? And for the expense budget, we budgeted about 11.2 million, which is $1.3 million higher. And the two key things were adding positions that were needed. We added a police officer. We added another person in parks, positions that we need. So that is there. And then we have new debt we have to make a transfer for. So that is included in that budget, which is makes it that 1.3 million. So can I answer any questions about 2025? No actions needed on your part to hear, and then I'll talk more about what you're going to do with that money.
No, I'm always excited when we bring in more than we spend.
Yeah.
I love when you use the word conservatively, because we have to think about how we're spending our money, and making sure that we're not counting our chickens before they're hatched is an important part of staying.
I agree.
In the black with that. Those projects, as we've seen, they can come to a screeching halt really, really fast. That money we thought we were going to get just doesn't come in. So this always makes me feel good. I love being able to shift the money around at the end of the year.
Me too.
To put it where it's going to be the most use, and when we have it, it's wonderful. So
I prefer for you as council to make a conscious decision on real things, as opposed to, well, let's build something extra in and hope we get there.
Right.
I'd rather you make, real decisions about how money's going to be spent. So let's talk about what we're going to do with it. And this is open to discussion. I think we've made a good plan here. We're open to your ideas if you have something different. So what we're suggesting, we have an obligation to appropriately keep cash balances that reflect the needs if there was an emergency, if we wanted to build a different project or something like that. So I wanted you to take a look at where we started the year at 2.3 million. The actual results ended at 4.3 million, an increase of just under $2 million in 2025. Then I'm going to talk to you about what should your cash balance be. Mm-hmm. And so I took the operating budget for 25 and I take some things out. We budget to spend every penny, all the cash that we have. Well, I'm taking that out because we don't typically spend it. I take out reserve for future projects. I take out the transfers between funds because that money is just one pocket to the other. And then I take out the medical insurance because we have a reserve for medical insurance. So we adjust that budget down to just over $8 million. So that's the number that we're looking at as a year of operation for the city.
When can we ask questions?
Oh, anytime.
If you go back,
yep,
please, on the reserves for the medical insurance.
Right.
So I get why we keep the reserves for that, but then So how does that, are you adding to what we already have left over, or you're just additionally adding the 1.2?
The expense of the medical insurance is paid from the general fund.
Right,
The reserve is held in a separate fund.
correct.
So I'm not going to budget cash in the general fund to cover medical insurance because I have that cash somewhere
reserve.
else.
If we're adding to.
No, it is, I'm not proposing that. I'm sorry.
Oh,
And that's it. It's coming.
okay.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
proposing that. Yeah,
Okay,
sorry about that.
that's okay.
So based on the $8 million budget, I gave you I just wanted you to see the difference. If we budget if we hold 20% in cash, 25, 30, and the city's been working towards 50%. If you want to keep a 50% cash, we're at 4.6 million. We've achieved that. If you'd like to just leave it all in cash. The GFOA, which is the governing body for people like me, recommends a 25 to 30% reserve for a city our size. And again, the target we've been working toward has been 50%. But I feel like council over the last year or so has been pulling back from that 50%. Sure. And so let's talk about, one, the cash isn't going anywhere till you really spend it. And then we're going to keep an ample amount in there not to impact our bond rating for borrowing money and things like that. So these are the recommendations for year-end transfers, and some really good things are happening here, which is we had a good dovetail tonight on Jacob talking about cars, because our goal here would be to move the cash over. I put 550 on here, but it's 577 is what I suggested in the motion. And that would be to pay for the 2026 cars project, which is 191st and Woodland, that project. When that money comes back from Johnson County, which is about a little under 300,000, I believe, I'm recommending we leave it in this fund and treat the capital project fund like a savings account instead of moving money back and forth. And then I'm also recommending that we transfer $500,000 unobligated into the project fund. To me, it's adding to a savings account. I can't say it's small. So that someday you'll have a project, we can continue to fund cars, maybe without a transfer. Maybe you want to do Nichols or Hale Street. And God forbid I say this, sidewalks along South Street is a very big project. Yeah. Let's put some money back and try to save towards some of those projects we don't have to create debt for. Right. And so I'm recommending a $500,000 transfer into the capital project funds. And eventually, the council will make the decision on how that money gets spent. We'll move $100,000 for IT projects. We have some projects going right now. We're really working on our IT infrastructure this year. And so I'd like to move some money over to take care of that. And then add another $100,000 to your sidewalks. We have about $425,000. This would add another $100,000. Our equipment fund is basically depleted, so I'd like to start building that back towards vehicles or other equipment that we need. And then we've been planning an upgrade to our website for several years. And now that we have Jenna in place, that project needs to move forward. And I'd like to move that money over to the facilities fund and hold it there, so we're not hoping we have money left in the budget every year to do the upgrades we need to the website. And this is where you'll see I'm not planning any transfer to the employee healthcare fund. Okay. I will if you want to.
No, I was just getting clarification.
You got it.
I don't have any ideas with that.
I am recommending a transfer of $1.4 million from the general fund to these various project funds and equipment funds to make plans for the future. So what does that mean? It means if we take the 4.3 million we ended the year with and we move 1.4, we'll leave 2.9 behind, which is 36.1% of the 25 operating budget, which I think is really solid for the city. It's well above the average GFOA recommendation, and so it reflects well on us towards our bond rating and things like that. Now I'll take more questions.
So I have a comment, but I'd love, if you guys have any questions or any ideas, I'd love to listen to those first.
I think, so in hindsight, this is what you're projecting, and then you do this upon the approval and everything. But you can you take something out of, like, let's say with this IT project ends up being more than what you think it is, can you take it out of different funds? Okay.
I'll be back to ask for more money is what.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I figured that we did it like that, I just wanna make
When,
sure.
if we go to approve that project
Sure.
and it exceeds what we need, you would be approving the project and I'd probably ask for a transfer at that time.
Right.
Or we'd make a plan for how we're gonna pay for it.
Okay, yeah, I just wanna make sure, like, if
Yes.
we approve it now,
Yes.
we can still do that. That was the only question I had, PJ.
So this compared to last year makes my heart really, really happy because it shows that you guys are listening to what we're asking. This is, excuse me, down to the letter, what we were kind of hoping to see.
Good.
When people see that we come in under budget every year and then immediately start moving these dollars around to plan for these future infrastructure changes, all these things that the voters are asking us for every single day, every single conversation we have. This is how it's supposed to look, and I really, really appreciate it. I know the medical fund is something that is still a priority down the line. I appreciate that you're listening to what we're saying and that we're happy with where we are now. We want to get to eventually to a higher reserve. I like to bring it all back to my household. I love having money in my savings account. Nothing makes me feel better than knowing my bills are paid if something happens. But we've got a lot of other priorities, and this really addresses pretty much everything I'm worried about right now.
Good.
Jacob has a lot of big numbers attached to those projects. We all know they need to be worked on. So being able to start moving money in the right direction now to get ahead of those projects brings it right back to what John was talking about earlier during citizen participation. We need to start moving forward intentionally and having a clear path forward, and this is the perfect step in that direction for me.
I also wanted two comments to you on that. One, when we budgeted for 2026, we've been kind of consistently carrying the same amount for development fees. And I bumped it a few $100,000, as if that's a small amount, but several $100,000 to sort of bridge that gap to say, we have things we need to do. You challenge us to lower the mill levy. We have to find other ways to do it. Let's account for some of that revenue in the budget, which we did. The second thing is, starting here in 2026, you're gonna get in your monthly snapshot a report of these funds. So you can see how much cash is in there, the things they're earmarked for, and then we can see what we're spending, and you'll be aware of those funds and how they're moving each month.
I love that.
Absolutely love that.
Great.
How much, so like after, if this is approved and everything, how much are you putting out there for people to kind of see that? In case they're curious. I mean, this can be accessible for people to see.
We'll report it in the snapshot.
Yeah.
And it is available to the public and kept on our website for 24 months. So
Right.
they can go back.
Okay, I just want
And-
to make sure, because I always get it here, so I don't go to the website to look it up.
Yeah,
I just wanted
yep.
to make sure, okay.
Another quick thing too is we always come to council and ask permission to move money between funds. That is not a state requirement. That's a Spring Hill requirement for transparency. You make those decisions. I don't have to do this very often, but if, say, a mistake was made and we recorded something in the wrong fund, I even come in and say, I gotta fix this and move it somewhere else. And so this is a transparency thing. You make those decisions, not staff.
You've done that before.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the plan. I love the intent behind it. I do like the idea of moving towards that elusive 50% mark slowly and surely, as well as addressing all the other issues. So I am very much in support of these recommendations tonight.
Great.
Are there any other questions? Any other concerns? All right, then I entertain a motion.
I move to approve the 2026 budget interfund transfers.
That's actually the next one.
That'll be the second.
He's on the first one.
That's okay.
Yeah, one back there on 13.
Year end. It's okay.
How did that?
I've got it here on my screen if you just want to.
Year end.
I move to approve the listed year-end transfers as of December 31st, 2025, and to leave any remaining balances in the receiving fund after projects are complete.
Take out your glasses.
Was that a second?
Second, yep.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. If there's no further questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0. And Ms. Dunn, you've got the floor still.
Yes. The next step is I'm here to ask your permission to make the budgeted transfers between the funds. And what you'll see here is actually a page from the budget that shows where we make transfer to special parks. That's the split of the alcohol tax that comes to the general fund. We turn it over to special parks. I have a couple on here that are important to me. I'm not asking at this time to make the transfer from special county, which is a public safety tax, into capital projects, because we've done some projects with the police department. We're paying out of that fund anyway. So to me, this is kind of a double whammy, so we don't really need to do that at this time. I reserve the right to have to come back and do it for something else, but I think for now, this is a good thing. And then special city tax, these debt service items are pretty straightforward. The special city tax, that's the payment on the swimming pool. The excise tax is a payment on Veterans Park and Veterans Lane, and I believe this is the last year and that'll be paid off. Wastewater is improvements at the plant, and then the general fund, these are more recent, like 23 and 25 bond issues related to street and other projects in the city. And then for now, I'm asking not to make the transfer from the healthcare reserve back to the general fund. I'd like to kind of wait and see how the year goes. If we need that, we did that to bridge that gap and be able to lower the mill levy. And I'd like to wait to see how we do and then make that reserve transfer if needed. The total for these transfers are budgeted at $2,260,000.
All right, I like the idea of holding on to the money in the reserve fund there. That's those premiums and things tend to fluctuate a little bit, so having that ready in case we need it is good. It'll save some time addressing those issues.
Yeah.
I don't see any problems here either. Any questions? Rhonda, you won us over tonight.
Good.
Expected these.
I should have brought some more stuff.
And we didn't for BJ's sake, can we afford it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's okay. The answer is yes.
Good.
Okay, I move to approve the 2026 budgeted inter-fund transfers.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. If there's no further questions or comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0.
Perfect.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, that concludes all formal council action. At this time, we're gonna move on to executive session number one. Just one. How long are we gonna need tonight? 20 minutes. Does anybody need a break beforehand? Are we all good? Just ready to roll?
Ready to roll?
All right. Got that, Ivan? No, I've got it pulled up. If you hit the little red Adobe there. Yep. And then you just have to read the top. Up at the top.
I move the city council recess into executive session for 20 minutes to receive advice of counsel regarding threatened litigation pursuant to KSA 75-4319B2 of the Kansas Open Meetings Act. The open meeting will resume in city council chambers at 20:39. No formal action is anticipated following the session. Persons to be in attendance are Lane Massey, City Administrator, Mike Malone, Community Development Director, and Spencer Lau, City Attorney.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0. We'll be back soon. All right, let the record reflect that the governing body reconvened in the chambers at 20:39. No actions were taken, decisions were made. The subject discussed was limited to the subject stated. At this point, if there are no other items of business, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0. We are adjourned.